Hey guys, welcome to the Speak Strength podcast. I'm your host, Jason Winley. I'm here with a friend of mine since childhood. His name is Daniel Brown. Daniel has traveled the world from Thailand to Guatemala and a lot of places in between. So he's here to tell us a few stories about what it was like traveling the world. He's got some nuggets he'll drop on us. Daniel, is there anything you would like to tell us before we really get started?
No, man, I don't think so. Just thanks for having me on. I'm ready when you are.
Awesome. So do you remember your first trip?
I do. My actual first real international trip was 2008. I was actually in grad school at Clemson, and I went down to Mexico as a part of a Christian organization, RUF, Reformed University Fellowship,
Right.
in Clemson, and we went down over our spring break. And I went down to an orphanage and just hung out with some kids down there and helped them do some construction work. So that was kind of my first experience really out of the country, besides like a little family trip where we did a border run into Canada once. But that was literally a day trip into Canada and came back.
So
But
was there a big group of you that went from that group of RUF? 10, 15, 20?
yeah, yeah, I think about 22 of us
Yeah,
went down.
that's
So
pretty
it was a
cool.
really cool experience. Like legit bunk beds and all that for your housing. We stayed on site, so we stayed at the orphanage with the kids. We did some construction there, and then funny enough, so we got there on a Saturday.
hmm
Um, we we're such a large group, we're able to take the kids to the beach on Sunday after church.
Oh,
And
nice.
on that Sunday, I'm like chasing one of the kids. He trips and falls, trips me up,
Ooh.
and I end up breaking my hand on
While
the
you were in
second day.
Mexico?
Yeah, while I'm in Mexico on like the first day I'm there. So that was fun.
So you stayed wrapped up pretty
But
much the whole time you were there.
yeah, I like ended up just finding some tape, wrapped my fingers, and so I thought it was just a jam finger. I got back to the States and I broke a bone like inside of my hand.
Ooh.
So yeah, just wrapped my fingers together and
So
went
how'd you
back.
get
And
hooked up with RUF first of all? Because you're in grad school, right? Tell us a little bit about
yeah,
what RUF is and then how you got hooked up with that group or that organization.
RUF stands for Reformed University Fellowship.
Right?
It's a ministry out of the Presbyterian Church,
hmm
I believe PCA to be specific. But I got hooked up with them through actually my college roommate, and he was a buddy of mine in high school. And so like our freshman year, a lot of these organizations will throw like get to know you type events.
Right?
Um, Usually at the first week every semester, or every fall semester, I guess.
hmm
So we went to a couple, and my roommate was actually Presbyterian and he knew about it. So we went there, and they were like kind of a small gathering, not as large as some of the other groups. And just some of the people we met there were just so welcoming and invited us in, and we're kind of like almost made friends instantly. So had that for my freshman year because I went to Clemson my freshman year. So from there through grad school.
So you went to RUF as a grad student too, and is the same organization as you did through undergrad?
Yeah.
So you were part
Yep.
of this organization for a good amount of time then.
Yeah. About 7 years, I guess,
Nice.
for
So
undergrad and grad school.
So once you got hooked up with RUF, what was the purpose behind going to Mexico? Was it for construction? Were you guys building churches, houses? What was that about?
So it was to work with this orphanage down there
hmm
that was, and the construction was more on site.
Okay,
Um, they didn't have a lot of resources necessarily. So the way they would have construction work done or help done would be through groups that come in.
gotcha.
And so the groups that would come in would help them with these different projects around their campus.
So you guys stayed on the orphanage campus?
Yep.
So you did
So
construction by day and then played with the kids by night?
pretty much,
Oh,
yeah.
that's kind of fun. What kind of games did you guys play? Did you play anything that was new to you? Did you pick up any new skills?
I picked up some sick soccer skills, sorry, football skills. Um, no, we we played football a little bit, soccer.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because we're doing construction, and like on their play area was concrete,
Mm-hmm.
and off to the side was where we were doing our construction that had like the rubble, the
Gotcha.
rocks, the sand,
Ooh.
it had nails, all this stuff, and so every
Right
now and
next
then
to
the
their
ball.
play area.
Oh yeah, so every now and then the ball would go over, and then a lot of kids were barefoot. They just walk over, go
And
get
pick
it.
stuff and pick up the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
And then right
I
back to
mean,
the
legit.
country.
Like sometimes some of us Americans were playing barefoot,
Gotcha.
and they'd be like, "No, no, no, we'll go get it."
Just because
So
your feet weren't going to be as strong as theirs, I'm guessing.
exactly. Yeah,
All right. So from Mexico, how long were you in Mexico? You said a week.
yeah. Right around a week.
And do you remember any of the kids or any of the people from Mexico when you went? I guess for
Yeah,
12 years now.
I remember a couple of the kids, but it was such a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
The names fade, but I have
Gotcha.
lots of pictures.
Nice. So, okay, so Mexico was your first trip, and then was there a second trip?
No, not back to Mexico. That was my last semester of school. So,
Okay. So working with that
um,
organization was kind of finished after that, huh?
right.
All right, so what was the next trip you were able to take? Because I know you've been to Thailand, you've been to Guatemala. Did you work in Guatemala on an orphanage also?
When I went to Guatemala, so that was kind of as far as like just traveling,
Yeah.
that was my third trip, I guess.
Gotcha.
I had actually gone to uh, Spain one time before, and I went to another trip to Europe and hit like Denmark, Prague, and Germany.
And those are just for
In that
fun?
trip, yeah, those were just for fun though.
So do you remember some of the differences that you recognized when you were going to those countries versus at home?
Uh, at that time,
Probably
it
not
was
as much.
very not as much. A lot of it was the dress,
Gotcha.
as far as like the European style, I guess, if
Fair
you
enough.
will. Americans stand out,
Once you're
so
there,
that's the huge thing. Like when you're traveling, like people know you're American. Like they can tell by what you're wearing.
gotcha. And so any other trips after that, after the European trip?
No, after that, I ended up going to. So my first trip to Mexico was 2008,
Gotcha.
or my trip to and then Guatemala was 2010,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Oh,
my
so this
other
is all
trips
over a
were
span of 3 years. So Mexico, that European tour, and then the trip to Guatemala.
yeah, and I
Okay.
actually had a trip to Costa Rica in there as well, the same in 2008
Nice.
as a kind of like sort of a graduation gift, but to myself, I guess.
Right?
But it was
You
just
can
me
do
and two
that.
buddies.
Cool. And that was the
Me and two
Costa Rica
buddies,
trip.
like yeah,
Cool deal.
no itinerary, just freestyle it.
Those are
It was
sometimes
very
kind of the
fun.
best trips when you don't have to worry about where you have to be at any particular time and what's next.
Yep,
Good deal. So where'd you guys go when you were in Costa Rica?
So in Costa Rica, we we got in, like we booked this hotel. Like the only thing we booked was our first couple nights
Yeah.
at this hotel resort type place that we saw online, and we thought it was like, a couple miles from the airport.
I'm guessing that didn't work out right.
No, not at all. Turns out it was like 2 hours from the airport, and we flew into Costa Rica. We got in at like 2 a.m, and so they were like, "Yeah, there's no way you're getting there tonight." So we ended up getting a taxi from the airport, getting in this shady taxi. But the only legit reason
It's 2 in the
I
morning.
felt somewhat okay,
Yeah.
we paid the people at the airport, so it's not like we gave the taxi driver money directly.
Right.
But he takes a phone call while we're in the car with him and starts speaking Spanish. And mind you, I'm the only one that really knows Spanish in our group,
Yeah.
and I don't know it that well. And so he starts. We're like, "Can you take us somewhere to get like a hostel, a bed for the night? Here's the place we need to go to tomorrow at least." And he's like, "Yeah, we'll take you to the bus stop." take you nearby. So he took us to this like little bed and breakfast type place.
Mm-hmm.
It actually worked out really well, but it was like a sketchy ride to this place.
Yeah.
Because he's driving and we're like, he's on the phone. We're like, all right, is he going to rob us? What's he doing?
At 2 a.m. All this at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yep.
Brand new to this
But
place. Don't know anybody. Don't have a place to sleep. They get you a random taxi. Still at 2 a.m. Nothing really good happens at 2 a.m. You're driving through this uncharted territory by you. So you're like, I don't even know what's going on. And hopefully you end up in this nice place.
yeah, so we stayed in this little bed and breakfast. It just like rent out rooms, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, he points out where the bus stop is for us to go the next day, and still, we had our luggage, so we ended up getting a taxi to go legit around the corner because we never been there.
Right.
We could have walked, but we had no idea.
Good stuff.
And the bus stop was like old school coach buses.
Yeah.
And they just cram everyone on there.
As many people as they can get in.
Like luckily this was like the first stop.
Mm-hmm.
So we had seats, but throughout the journey they'd pick up more and more people.
Yeah.
And like there are people just standing up in the aisle. You're just like, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
And then those legit scenes you see in movies and stuff of going around these like crazy curves and mountains. You look out, there's a drop off. You're like, okay, this is how we go. So
it's got to be crazy being your first time to Costa Rica on this random bus trip after you had a crazy taxi drive, and now you're headed to this town that's 2 hours away.
Yep. So
the trip ended up okay though?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was amazing. Pretty much just close your eyes, go to sleep, say a little prayer, and
hope you're good.
You're there.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, we ended up traveling by bus, and the crazy part was like me and my two buddies, we kind of all fall asleep, and we happened to wake up, or two of us woke up, and we see the name of our hotel that we're staying in alongside the road. We're driving past it. I mean, the whole time our bus driver was like, yeah, I'll stop. I got you guys. So we ended up having to pull the emergency stop so that
that's a real
he'll let us off. Yeah. So it like just flashes a light or something for you to stop. And he hits
the brakes, yeah.
So he hits the brakes, lets us off on the side of the road.
Oh, you guys had to walk back to the hotel with your luggage.
We had to walk back with our luggage, so about a quarter to half a mile.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if we never would have seen that,
you would have just been in the middle of nowhere. Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. We would have gone to the next whatever stop.
How long were y'all in Costa Rica?
We were there for probably about, it's been so long, right around a week, I think,
not
or
too
just
bad either.
A little over a week.
Yep. And so you went to Mexico, Costa Rica, that trip through Europe, and what was after that?
Spain.
Then Spain.
Yep.
And then after Spain, what all did you do? I remember a trip you went to. I'm going to kind of skip around because I remember a trip you and Frank went to Thailand. How long were you in Thailand?
We're there for, or I was there for. I went for like maybe about a week the first time.
Yeah.
And then I went back and stayed for about a month.
Nice. So what'd you do the first week, and why did you want to go back for another month worth of travel?
So that trip that you're kind of talking about started off with my buddy Frank and I just kind of deciding, all right, we're both single. We didn't own anything at the time, really, like no house.
Yeah.
No true car payments or anything like that. So we kind of both decided like, oh, it's a great time to travel. And my buddy's Filipino. And so he wanted to go back to the Philippines and see some family.
Cool.
And hang out there for a while. Like he's Filipino, but was raised in the States for most of his life.
Right.
So he was kind of quitting his job and doing that. And was like, yeah, if you want to come over.
So he completely quit his job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Convinced me to do it too.
You quit your job for that trip too?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I remember taking you on to the airport, but I do not remember the part about quitting jobs. That's pretty awesome, actually. We're done. We're going to go to Thailand.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
We kind of talked about it for a couple years prior. Like Frank went to Spain with me in that trip. And then from there, like we had trips to Guatemala and he also went to Costa Rica with me, actually. So from there, we had these little vacations that were going international.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, all right, how can we go somewhere for an extended period? And he was telling me that he was thinking of going back to the Philippines. And so when that came about, we started thinking, all right, let's put together some money, start saving, be intentional how we're saving our money,
right?
Things like that. And so from the Philippines trip, we decided to go to other places, China,
while you were
Vietnam,
in the Philippines,
Thailand. Yeah. So Philippines was kind of just our meeting point,
right.
Home base. He was already there months before I got there.
Gotcha.
So I met him in the Philippines. We spent some time there, China, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and then we went to Thailand for about a week. And then because of the way this whole thing was working out, our final destination was kind of Brazil in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole trip started in 2013, August, I believe. But I ended up coming back home for Christmas of 2013. And so we had talked about going to Brazil in February of 2014. So some things happened where we hadn't bought any tickets. It wasn't working out right away. So I was just like, well, I quit my job and we still wanted to go to Brazil, but we didn't end up going until May, I think, or June. And so I was like, we still have all this time. I got to do something. And he was like, do you want to come back out to Thailand and the Philippines and we can do some Muay Thai training?
Oh, that's pretty dope.
So, because when we went out there for a week, we both enjoyed it, had a really good time. And I was like, yes, let's do some Muay Thai training.
All right, so before we get into the Muay Thai training, because that's going to get into a whole other topic, let's talk about some of your martial arts and then tie back into that Muay Thai stuff. It's not like you're going out there and just randomly hopping into the ring with these Muay Thai guys. It was
right.
a little bit of background in martial arts. So let's talk about that, and then we'll go back into the Muay Thai stuff. All right, so tell us a little bit. You have Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's pretty streets.
The streets.
You know.
The streets.
Right.
Both
mean
of us.
Streets.
The mean streets of the suburbs.
Yep.
I mean, they
That's
get
me.
to you sometimes, you know. It's back in the day. You had to be ready.
So my buddy Frank, the one that's Filipino, that was in the Philippines, he was actually, I got into Taekwondo at Clemson.
Right.
And Frank was the head Taekwondo instructor at Clemson. So
is that how y'all initially met?
Yeah, they had a
sweet.
Taekwondo club that I happened to stumble upon. And I've always been interested in martial arts.
Yeah.
And ended up taking classes every semester. Ended up eventually getting my black belt in 2006, I believe.
Gotcha. So you're black belt a couple years prior to going to Thailand at this point in time. All right.
Yep. And so kind of Frank and I just had this great relationship after just being buddies for such a long time. And he was such a high level black belt, training with him. And we traveled doing all these collegiate tournaments.
Right.
When we were both in college. He was a couple years older than me. But he ended up leaving, going to work, like I said before, and then wanting to go back to the Philippines.
And so, but there's a little bit of difference in Taekwondo and Muay Thai, right?
Yeah, there is. So Taekwondo's really big on you generating your powers from your hip. So is Muay Thai. Yeah. But I would say that Taekwondo, you're going to get more of a full hip rotation.
Gotcha.
Whereas Muay Thai is a little bit more half rotation.
Quick, powerful movement patterns.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
a little bit more shin. You got some. They throw a lot of knees, elbows. So they do a lot of punching.
2 different areas of origin too. Yep. 2 different cultures. Gotcha.
So it was kind of tough because I've had all these years of Taekwondo and the way my hips move to start doing these Muay Thai kicks. There were lots of times they were like, no, do it again.
So you went in there with some preconceived notions. It's hard coming from one style to another, I imagine, trying to figure out how, okay, this technique is slightly different when you're going into this particular style of martial arts as opposed to where you were in Taekwondo.
Yeah, and then they also we're in Thailand training at this place called Phuket Top Team. Mm-hmm. And it's legit down the street from another training gym called Tiger. What is it? Tiger? I can't even remember. But they're like huge gyms where people come in and it's a business, like Muay Thai tourism, if you will.
Right. So outsiders will come in from other areas and just come and train for a short period of time before they go back home.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, or some people go and train to be a pro.
Gotcha.
Some people were there training to do professional Muay Thai fights.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Or even like the Asian MMA leagues. Mm-hmm. Like you'd see people that were part of these gyms that would train there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I would say if you're interested in training, this gym also had a jiu-jitsu school. If you're interested in training, it's fantastic. I was probably in the best shape of my life then.
For that whole month that you got down there, huh? Put in some work.
I mean, and then the food nearby, it's all delicious.
Cool.
It's we're living like a crazy lifestyle of, not crazy as far as like party hard or anything like that, but crazy as far as
kind of living the dream that you wanted to live, right?
It wasn't super expensive. We rented like a moped for weeks at a time.
Right.
And we'd take the moped, just go drive to the beach, drive to the grocery store on the moped. Because we were a little bit cheap, we only rented one moped. So there would be times where we both were on it.
Oh, that's funny.
Luckily, Frank would drive on those days because he had a motorcycle and he was used to it. But he'd be driving, I'm holding the groceries. Just let's go.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. And so you guys were there in Thailand for about a month doing some training. Did you actually get in the ring with anybody?
No, just
a lot
of practice.
Yeah. What was the difference in the training styles for you? Like, other than some of the technical aspects, what did you find that was different in the way they trained versus what you were used to?
I would say they train pretty hard as far as I've done some really hard training as well.
How about some contact versus touch sparring? Any difference there?
Yeah, that would be the big difference, I think. Gotcha. Because they're doing more hand work. They would not pull punches, especially to the face. Oh. Or not especially, but
I would pull my punches. Well, you felt they should have pulled punches, they did not.
Yeah. I mean, my jaw clicked for about a week. Because they just tag you in the face where I'd still punch people in the face, but it's you could definitely tell I pulled it.
Yeah.
It's they would definitely just you're like, oh crap, come on. I mean, nothing crazy with that, but at the same time you're just all right, you just punching me in the face. Come on, man.
Relax a little bit.
That's not cool.
Yeah. But that took some getting used to.
With my Taekwondo background too, the way they fight, there are things from Taekwondo that I was accustomed to doing that they weren't used to, some of the footwork or some of the kicks.
Yeah.
So it's you punch me in the face. Oh, let me just throw this kick, and I tag them that way or something.
Right. So in this time period, from Philippines to Thailand, you came back home and just hung out, or any other thing after that? You did end up going to Brazil, right?
Yeah, we did. We ended up going to Brazil in 2014, like end of May, early June. We went right before the World Cup started.
Yeah.
Like legit, we got there a few days before. But the plan there was to train jujitsu and be there for the World Cup.
But you didn't.
So
Did you stick around for the World Cup? Were you able to watch a few games while you were down there?
yeah. So we got there right when it started. So
That's pretty cool.
we went to the first day of the World Cup where Brazil played. Whoever the host city plays the first night, they're the only game.
Yeah.
We go out to Copacabana, and they're playing. That's in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
And that's where the first game is as well, and this massive new stadium they built. And we're out on the beach at this fan fest that's just wall-to-wall people. I mean, it was fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
But we ended up staying, while we were in Brazil, we ended up staying at this hostel that was for people to come down and do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So we all went out there like as a whole house. So it was really cool. Like, it was like our first, especially with me and Frank, just getting there like 2 or 3 days prior. It was like our first
outing,
bonding with all the dudes or whatever in the house.
How long do you stay down there?
Oh, that was the trip of the lifetime right there. That was stayed down there 6 months.
You were in Brazil for 6 months?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And you trained jiu-jitsu while you were down there?
Right. So training during the World Cup was weird. Maybe only get one training session in. Sometimes maybe two. But other than that, a lot of the other days was tried to train about twice a day.
Yeah.
When the body allowed.
Was that a big shock?
A lot of gripping.
Yeah. Was that a shock to your body initially getting started trying to do the 2 a days with jiu-jitsu?
Not so much, because when we were back in Thailand, there were days we would work out 2 or 3 times a day there.
Gotcha. So it's pretty much you were pretty, I guess, acclimated to that intensity once you got there.
Yeah. It was just getting your butt kicked for me, at least over and over.
Yeah.
I went down as a new blue belt. Like, I legit got my blue belt the day before we left.
Yeah. For those who may not know, tell us what the stages are and what you have to do to kind of get your next belt.
So it's white, blue, purple, brown, then your black belt.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty much, I mean, your class attendance, you usually have to test for it or compete. It's showing proficiency. And a lot of it, too, is just your instructor's discretion.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's up to them. So they had wanted to give me my blue belt before I left for the Philippines the first time.
Right.
But it just kind of, I was in a quick hurry up mode, and we never really had time. So they ended up like, all right, I was back for the holidays, for Christmas. I was home for a few months or whatever. And they're like, all right, before you go to Brazil, let's get this blue belt on you.
All right.
In one sense, I'm glad I did, because they kind of like, down there, they if you're a white belt, I might not have been able to do certain classes or something.
It's very selective at that point, I'm guessing.
But at the same time, I felt like a white belt because I just gotten it, and I'm getting beat up by everybody.
Right. Did they have any expectations of you being a blue belt while you were down there?
No, none at all.
Okay, cool.
Which is great. It's no pressure.
Yeah. Good.
And the cool thing there was, like, we're hopping from gym to gym.
Trying to learn different places. Did you find a favorite spot that you like to train while you were down there, considering that you hopped a couple gyms? Well,
we trained at this one place when we were at the house, the hostel. We stayed there for 3 months. We trained at this place that was legit right around the corner.
Yeah.
Because no one had cars. So either you're getting on a bus or you're walking for a while, like maybe 15, 20 minutes to go train.
Oh, yeah.
Where there was this one place right around the corner, so we'd go train there.
Right. So go ahead and tap your screen real quick.
Yeah. Sorry, my battery's going.
Oh, that's all right. We'll get you going here in a second. So, were you able to get any promotions while you were down in Brazil?
No, because I wasn't actually a student of like a regular student of any of these guys.
Gotcha.
I didn't get promoted by anyone, but I did see a couple foreigners
Yeah.
that were living in Brazil that did get promoted. But since they're not my teacher, it's more like you get to train here,
Yep.
but we won't do any promotions.
So when you got back, did you notice anything different between your training down in Brazil? I guess going from Thailand, quick stint back home, and then down in Brazil. Was there a difference in your training from going from both Thailand and Brazil and then coming back home to train again?
Yeah, I would say my sort of attitude, not necessarily anything that I noticed specifically, but more my attitude, my demeanor on the mats. It was more relaxed, more calm.
Gotcha.
Like jiu-jitsu is very close, a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Brazil, that first place that we were training, it's a lot of bigger guys.
Okay.
The gym was called Gordos.
I know what that means.
So yeah. So it was like, I mean, and those guys were like huge. So it kind of helped me refine some of the things I was doing and learning how to not stress under the pressure of
Gotcha.
like a bigger person.
Mm-hmm.
Some techniques that work with bigger people, like using my legs more to keep them away, things like that.
Right.
And then when they are on top, how to find that space to be comfortable where it's not like they're crushing my soul.
Right. And you're not panicking while you're under that pressure.
Yeah. But as far as like just skill level, I wouldn't say I necessarily got like, I wasn't killing people when I came back, unfortunately. A lot of that too is because I'm a smaller guy.
Yeah.
So lots of times as a white blue belt, unless you're just really amazing, and I had, like, even me, I had a full-time job when I first started, so I didn't have all this time on the mat. So a lot of my time in jiu-jitsu is defense.
Okay.
So now that I'm a higher belt, actually, now I'm a brown belt now.
Gotcha.
Now I feel like, oh, okay, I do know how to be more offensive,
yeah.
and keep the position.
Gotcha. You can attack from a defensive position if necessary. Is that what I'm gathering?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know how to get out of those bad spots a little bit better now.
And counter a couple things.
Read people. Yep.
Cool. Nice. Good stuff. Well, we're going to kind of end there, and maybe hopefully we'll get you back again for some other conversation on some martial arts training as a whole, because I'd be more interested in hearing what it's like to train for both Brazil, for jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, and then a little bit more of some of the principles you picked up while you were training Muay Thai while you were over in Thailand. But I appreciate the time you gave us and the conversation you gave us about all your travels, man. Thanks for coming out and let me talk to you.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Cool deal. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email or message me. You can find me on Instagram at j_Winley if you want. And then we'll have Daniel's contact information tagged in the comments. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you guys for listening to Speak Strength.